I think what we have kind of helped or like to help people do is use the data that you're capturing and then use that to personalize your communication. So it's more genuine to your donor that that's this program that they care about or this campaign. And hey, we saw that you love to give online. Here's a link. Or you know what? You came to our event. That is awesome. Here's more about what happened at that event and what happened afterwards. Or are you interested in volunteering? You've been really engaged with, our organization. Like here's ways that you could get even more involved. So really personalizing how they're involved with you in your outreach to them.
Over the rainbow.
Hey, story makers, and welcome to Tell Well, the podcast where we're inviting you into the conversations that we get to have with some of our favorite people on a regular basis. Welcome to a very special mini episode where we're introducing our Well Told speakers. Well Told is the nonprofit storytelling conference that is coming up on April 24th right here in Fargo and virtually at welltoldconference.com. Right? It's welltoldconference.com. I think that's right. With me in studio is Bridgette. Bridgette is with DonorDock. And I think I did the same thing to your husband when I introduced him. Say your last name.
Bitzegaio.
Bitzegaio. Bridgette Bitzegaio from DonorDock. You're an account manager. You're customer success. You do the intros and you do the onboarding. Like you do so much. And Bridgette, you're going to be one of our speakers at Well Told.
I am very excited to be there and talking about stewardship. So I also like to say that I have a connection with our customers. I not only teach them about DonorDock, but I actually have founded and run a nonprofit myself and use it. So that was kind of my story before I even started working at DonorDock. So I love connecting with other nonprofits because I can kind of empathize with what they're going through and then help them or, teach them how to use DonorDock and make their lives a little bit easier, right?
Yeah. Well, let's start there. What is your nonprofit?
So it's called Adapt Music. So in another lifetime, I was also a music educator for many years, and I loved working with people with disabilities and just the power of music and how that can connect with people of all abilities. So actually, Matt encouraged me. I was like, someone should do this in the community. And Matt was like, you should do it in the community. And I was like, oh, okay. So yeah, I started a nonprofit and I actually still get to run that, which I love. I love connecting with our participants and just the power of music. So I have the joy of doing that. And then, DonorDock, I always laugh. As you said, my husband, Matt, is one of the co-founders and CEO, and DonorDock is like our fourth child. So it's always, been a part of our lives for a long time. And I was a teacher and ran my nonprofit, and I decided to leave the classroom, and Matt was like, well, we're going to hire, onboarding specialist and trainer. And I was like,
wait a second. That sounds like things that I do.
Wait a second. I want to do that. So I have loved DonorDock, used DonorDock, and now I get to teach other people how to use DonorDock.
I love that. So, okay. Like if we back up just for a moment, like casually starting a nonprofit that like supports folks with disabilities and specifically around like music therapy.
Oh, so actually I'm not a music therapist. So
that's a real title, isn't it?
It is. So actually this is part of my thing that I talk about is, so music therapy teaches non-musical goals using music. It's amazing. I love it. My daughter's going into music therapy. It's amazing. I actually bring music enrichment activities in and education activities. So we're meeting like musical goals using music. So so that's kind of the differentiation. They have amazing cross, values and things that come out of it. But so it's kind of a two-sided thing. So I do more of the music enrichment and just experiencing music for the love of it, the power of music, expressing yourself, communication with each other. And
So, okay, this might get a little bit in the tree of trust and it's tree of trust with all of our, 8 listeners, including my mother. But I'm curious, as you went from teaching and doing some of this work to teaching and training adults, what has been the biggest learning curve?
It's a lot the same. Adults choose to be there though.
That's fair. That's fair.
You don't have to really grab their attention as much.
Or it's like an essential part of their job. And so their boss told them if they had to.
Exactly. They're required to be there, so they're kind of a captive audience. Whereas like kids, I taught K through 12 and specifically K through 5, so gathering kindergartners and trying to make a circle and sing a song is much easier than training adults. But
were you like a class? Was this class B? Because K5 is like a big range.
I've taught in a few different places. So I did K-12 for a couple years, and then
like in a class B town.
Yes, and then
class B is also not offensive for anybody in North Dakota. Like we wear it with a badge of honor.
Yes.
I'm from a class B town, and like class B does it better is what we like to say. And so to have a range like that, I think any like other teacher would be like, you teach 13 grades? How do you do that? So.
And every student in the school as a music teacher. No, it was wonderful. So, I did K-12, and then I kind of focused on K-5 as I, started teaching in the same town as my kids went to school in, so it was nice to be on that schedule. But so here's my thing is I love connecting with people. So whether that's kindergarteners through 12th graders and connecting with them and teaching them about music, whether it's our, participants in Adapt Music and all ages, all abilities, I love it. Or it's DonorDock customers or speaking at conferences and really just connecting with people. So I think my calling is connecting with people. And then I think my jobs have just allowed me to do that.
That's so fun. If you break down how you connect with people, it's like showing genuine interest, actually like loving people, right? Actually like trying to understand like what makes them tick, what makes them motivated. And like, it's the genuine connections.
Yeah.
Like that, you can break that down for anybody that you're connecting with.
Yeah.
But you can break it down for anybody that you're connecting with. But it takes a really, really purposeful person that is like not studying it, but like lives that out on a regular basis. And I think it's something you've done really beautifully. You got to train our team
I did.
at Tellwell because we have been learning the DonorDock platform specifically for the nonprofits that we serve. You make training fun. So
thank you.
We appreciate that as well. We are a team of like fidget toy people because we have to have like our hands busy. And so that was a meeting where I noticed that there were not many fidget toys out in a very positive way.
I love that. Yeah, it is fun for me and I have a passion for it. I think that's the other thing is that genuine, connection with people and then being excited about what you're teaching or training and really having that. And I have had the blessing of having that in all kind of areas of my career. I have been passionate about the thing that I get to train on. And if you would have asked me 10 years ago, if I would have said, because I have said this in trainings, like, okay, now we're going to track data. And this is so exciting. And I'm not just saying that. I have a genuine love now of data, which I'm sure Matt's like smiling and loves that because that was not my world. That was not my, idea. But I love it. And how it can like help. And I think that's the other part is like using the technology, especially in this role, obviously in other areas of my life, I do it differently. But in this role, it's like connecting. I think what people think they should be doing, like we have a list of things we think we should be doing. And I don't like to should people at all. That's like, I don't should people, but we have our own lists. Like I should be doing this and I should be doing this. And because of different reasons. So whether it's resources or time, huge like thing that we can't get back. So whether it's resources, time, expertise, maybe we're not doing those things. And then like, I love that's where DonorDock comes in and I come in and I'm like, hey, all these lists of things you should be doing, we're just going to show you how you can do it and you can do it easier and like save yourself time and all those things and make your impact even bigger. So,
well, I think one of the things that you guys do differently is because you are focused on nonprofits and charities, you guys have the ability to understand and get into that advancement mindset, get into that director of development mindset to understand that they, forgive my language, they don't actually give a shit about data. What they actually really, really care about is growing the impact of their nonprofit. And you guys have done the really beautiful layer of adding data on top of that heart, right? Or I guess that would be that way. But we talk a lot about data with heart and how do we actually use data and harness the power of data. And you guys have done a really, really beautiful job of like harnessing that in a really approachable way. Because, and I think one of the things that we're going to be talking about is what are some of the very purposeful journeys that you guys are putting in place. So I realize we've already talked, we try to keep these pretty short, but we've already talked for a while about you. And we love that. Would love to give people a little appetizer about this idea of stewardship and user journeys. And so I'll just like tee it up like that.
Yeah.
Would love to know just a little bit more.
I love it. And I think that is using the data really personalizes it for these journeys, because I think gone are the days, or, could be gone are the days of sending the exact same message to all of the people, because that's not who we all are. Like, we care about different things about your organization. We prefer to give in this way. So we want to make that easy for that giver. Like, if you phone call me, you're probably not going to get to talk to me. Like, I'm just not a big phone call person. But if you send me a text or an email, I'm all about that, So I think what we have kind of helped or like to help people do is use the data that you're capturing and then use that to personalize your communication. So it's more genuine to your donor that that's this program that they care about, or this campaign. And hey, we saw that you love to give online. Here's a link. Or, you know what? You came to our event. That is awesome. Here's more about what happened at that event and what happened afterwards. Or are you interested in volunteering? You've been really engaged with, our organization. Like, here's ways that you could get even more involved. So really personalizing how they're involved with you in your outreach to them, because that's what we see. But you need the data to be able to do that personalization, which leads to deeper donor relationships and, and obviously then growing your donor base, getting your funding and, the donations so that you can provide, food, clothing, water, music, whatever it may be, whatever your mission is. So you need to do this so that you can do more of the amazing work you're doing.
I love this because I think one of the really, really powerful things that you're talking about is acknowledging where they've been. Because I do think that's a big piece of it. And I think it's a big piece of relationships in general, is just like acknowledging this is what's been done. And this is like the impact that you've had so far. Yeah. And we're inviting you to deepen that impact even more by going like the next level. That's wildly powerful.
Oh, it is. Like, I want to feel connected and acknowledged. I mean, I think it's human nature.
Yes, absolutely.
We want to feel acknowledged for things. And that does deepen our connection. And we move that forward. And that's what I think DonorDock is doing really well, or trying to help our customers do really well, is we actually have like created these journeys for you, because we've always had the technology, right? You can use this and you can segment and create campaigns and badges and all these things. And so we've always had the technology. But now what we've done is we are implementing the methodology of that. And we're kind of doing it for you, honestly. Cool. So we have created donor or, stewardship journeys, actually, because not everybody's a donor. People, they could be just interested in your organization. They could volunteer. I mean, which, not just monetary donations, I guess, is kind of the idea. So you're taking these journeys of your people in your organization, that are interested in giving, your contacts in your database. And we're separating them out and saying, this is what we think really works. And it's not just sending the same email. It could be, we automate it through text messages or emails or phone calls. And what's really nice, meeting them where they're at and what they prefer. And there are one-to-one interactions and there's one-to-many interactions. Like, there's a combination of that. And so we've actually, what we are like to talk about with this agile stewardship model is that we've actually created these journeys for you in DonorDock. You can use them outside of DonorDock. Not everybody is a DonorDock customer. So we're not just doing this for DonorDock customers. We're doing this. It's a full model, stewardship model that you can implement. But if you are a DonorDock customer, you can literally just turn it on. And then you can also, customize and configure how it works for your organization even more personally. So that's what I'm excited to kind of talk about and show at Well Told.
Okay. So If this is an inappropriate question, you just tell me. Did somebody within like the tech stack group help come up with the word agile stewardship?
Oh, this is Matt.
I was going to say that is a tech nerd that like called it agile because like nobody outside of tech project management refers to like agile.
I love it. No, he did. And he was a tech, in tech forever, but he loves the word.
Yeah.
Like he's also like a wordsmith.
Yeah.
I always laugh and say he is technical, but he's also like, A
He's
and
very
B.
human.
He's just very human, but he has always loved that word because of what it means. So it isn't stagnant. It's changing. You're adapting and doing these things. So yes, it was Matt's word. And he has thought about this, like being married to him.
Don't let him listen to this episode if it's going to be like, oh no, should I rethink that?
No, he loves it. So being married to him, we obviously have conversations and he's talked about this for years. So on the personal side of it, to see it implemented in DonorDock now, just even DonorDock in general, and then this methodology, it's really been a passion for him, from the tech world, but then also like combining that with the passion and the human connection of our nonprofit customers. So it was his word.
I love it. Can you tell me where the word stewardship comes from? Because I would say it totally makes sense in this space, but it's also one that I don't think I've really heard a ton, even in like the nonprofit giving space, unless it's like up and coming. But like where did you guys pull stewardship from?
We just really think that's important, to steward your donors and the people who are in that. They're not just a transaction.
Right.
And that's what we believe. So this is our stewardship. We're getting our message out for our organization. And we're in this journey together and this process. So that's where I think it's more relational than just transactional.
Well, it really, to me, the thing that pops to mind right away is like a visual of somebody like coming alongside you throughout that entire journey. And what I think you're doing as well is positioning like the nonprofit as the helpful guide. So that way that donor, that volunteer, that event goer can be like the hero of that journey, which we nerd out about the hero's journey all the time. But I love that word stewardship really feels like, hey, I'm coming alongside you.
It's very relational. Rather than just transactional.
I love it. Well, Bridgette, any final things that you would like to share? Any like things to get people excited to come to Well Told?
Well, I think it's going to be amazing. We're
really
so
cool.
excited. If you can be in person, Fargo is an amazing city and it should definitely be warmer by the time we're doing this.
By the time this drops, I'm hopeful there are like a couple of tickets left because I think your episode is going to be very popular.
Oh, love that.
But there may not be. So book now if you can.
Yeah. And that's what I think is great. And I think is great about both of our organizations. Like the virtual part is going to be just as amazing. Yeah. So you have all of these resources. And I think what I love the most is the connection and the storytelling and being real and then having the actionable steps. So I love the ideas of things and I love to process through that. But then I'm like also a real like, okay, now I need ABC. Like tell me what to do. And I think that's the beauty of this is not only are we going to say, these are the amazing things that you can think about and connect in relations and stewardship. However, you can do A, B, and C, and it's going to make your life easier. It's going to create this, journey that you can go on together with your contacts, and you can do this tomorrow. Yes. So you can get back to your desk after you're done at the conference and you can go, okay, this is what I'm going to do.
So fairly new development, as we were figuring out the swag bags.
Oh, okay.
One of the things that we've been talking about quite a bit is we want people to go home with a roadmap. And so we've been working with all of our speakers. So the folks that don't have worksheets or don't have like a written out version of their framework, we're working with them to create some different worksheets and things like that. And then you'll actually go home with a binder that says like my Well Told roadmap. and be able to kind of thumb through it page by page to implement. And so it's going to be so cool. And I'm so excited exactly about that.
That's amazing. I love that idea because, I'm a binder person. I love it. So that's amazing to go home with from all of your speakers. So it's not just one speaker that had it put together. I think that's going to be a really valuable resource. I don't know that I've seen that.
I've never seen it at a conference, which is why I'm like, this is going to be a freaking sweet, because it's like, it truly is like a combination of like inspiration and action.
There you go.
Because so many times we've seen this idea of like inspiration porn. Also so funny when I said inspiration porn to Rob on one of the previous episodes, he like cringed and I saw his body like tense up and I was like, it's okay. We can say porn on Tell All the podcast because we're talking about...
Oh, that cracks me up.
You can imagine. It was so sweet. And I love Rob. But okay, so we're already going over time. So let's do this real quick. One, if you have not registered, jump on welltoldconference.com. If you use the code PODCAST, PODCAST, it is going to knock your in-person price from $297 all the way back to early bird, which is $97.
Wow.
That's a heck of a deal. And it knocks the virtual price from $97 back to the $27. And it's a wild amount of like resources. One thing that's super fun and exciting, Patrick Kirby's new book is going to be in everybody's bag. You're also going to get a deck of brain noodling cards, which we're so excited about. Janice Evans from Brain Noodling is going to be there. And we're trying to figure out a couple more resources to be putting in there. So like that alone is like more than $97. So it's going to be so worth it. So jump online, register now. Bridgette, so excited to have you there. And let's go tell some great stories.
I love it. I'm all for it. Hope to see you there.
Thanks for tuning into this special Well Told edition of Tell Well the podcast. If you're ready to transform how you share your mission, join us on April 24th in person in Fargo or virtually for Well Told, the nonprofit storytelling conference where powerful missions meet masterful storytelling. If you're interested, make sure to use code PODCAST at welltoldconference.com to unlock early bird pricing. Whether you're a nonprofit leader, communicator, or mission-driven entrepreneur, this intimate hands-on experience will help your impact become impossible to ignore. Interested in sponsoring? Visit the website to see how you can support organizations working to grow and do the most good in our community. If you enjoyed this podcast, you'll love the in-person experience and the rest of the episodes in this special series where we're talking to all of the speakers and sponsors making this incredible experience a reality. When good work is well told, change becomes unstoppable, and we invite you to join us at Well Told, the nonprofit storytelling conference in Fargo, April 24th.